And I feel...
The best reveal. So...
In only a couple of weeks, Doctor Who will be returning to our screens. The press tour has just begun for the new season, so today we've got a whole bunch of things to break down. We've got a new preview clip.
Have you got too hot?
Padam, padam.
We've got the celebration of the fact that today is 20 years since Doctor Who returned, so New Who, the revival, 20 years ago. Mad. We've got new casting announcements for the upcoming season, and we've got some very interesting hints and comments at grand reveals throughout Season 2 from both Ncuti Gatwa and Verada Sethu. Oh, and Russell T Davies has been asked about the next Doctor. Not the episode The Next Doctor, as in the 16th Doctor. There's still loads of rumours going around about a possible 15th Doctor regeneration, but we'll get to that later. Let's just quickly run through the headlines. The new Doctor Who magazine comes out tomorrow. It's going to feature a load of new interviews from Russell T Davies and various people who've worked on the upcoming season. There's also a special edition celebrating 20 years of New Who, which once again speaks to Russell T Davies and co. The official Doctor Who page are also celebrating this 20th anniversary with this post, and I'm sure there's going to be some other stuff throughout the day. It's also been announced that there's a couple of novelisations coming our way for Season 2 stories. We've got Episode 1, The Robot Revolution, written by Una McCormack. We've got Lux, Episode 2, written by James Goss. And then we've got Episode 3, The Well, written by Gareth L. Powell. We don't know if they're novelising the rest of the series, but we know at least the first 3 episodes will have novelisations coming your way relatively soon. We've also had a new casting announcement. I think they're dropping just random guest stars every couple of weeks, or maybe one a week up until the season drops, but Charlie Condu joins Doctor Who for Big and Bold Season 2 episode. Charlie has starred in multiple prominent dramas, including Holby City, The Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance, Unforgotten, Midsummer Murders, and Coronation Street, and has lit up stages across the UK in tours of the Rocky Horror Picture Show and Arthur Miller's The Crucible. So he's a very well-respected actor. As for who he's playing, we don't actually know, but we can get a clue from this image. If you look at his shirt, it says Interstellar Song Contest on it. I presume he's not a contestant because, when you go to Eurovision, do you just wear Eurovision on? Probably not. He's probably a fan or someone who's come to watch this contest because, if you go to Eurovision, all the people sat in the audience will be wearing the Eurovision merch. Maybe he's behind some of the evil plan or whatever's going down in this episode. But yeah, a cool new guest star. As I mentioned, we also got this new exclusive clip from Good Morning America. I'm not going to play the full thing, but I'll play you a little taster.
Have you got too hot?
Padam, padam.
No way. Do you mind if I... Wow.
This clip was taken from the press tour, which is still ongoing currently in America. They did this last year to promote Doctor Who because obviously now that they've co-partnered with Disney+, it's not just a big British thing. They're trying to make it properly big internationally. On the press tour, Ncuti and Verada were asked about the upcoming season and put a heavy emphasis on a very big reveal. A huge, from what they're saying, it's going to be a massive reveal.
With some surprises, we're told lifelong fans will love.
Whovians will love this season. It's
Whovians.
so many Easter eggs for them.
Yeah.
And I feel...
The best reveal.
So... But the Doctor's facing, the greatest trouble he's ever faced before.
Now, it could be press talk, hyping it up for something that's going to be disappointing. But, to be fair, during the Season 1 press tour, they weren't banging on about a big reveal for Sutekh or anything like that. Which makes me think this is probably going to be an even bigger shock. They specify as well that, Whovians are going to love it. So, the more time goes on, the more I am convinced there's going to be some sort of big returning villain. I think Mrs. Flood's plan is what they're referring to. And I don't think she's specifically a returning villain, but I think she could be. If we're narrowing it down, There's all the theories on the Rani. I've covered that loads. I don't think Mrs. Flood's the Rani. But maybe she's some sort of harbinger, bringing another god into the Doctor Who universe, because the whole thing's about gods. We know that Lux episode 2 is going to have a god. So it kind of makes sense. And I mean, Mrs. Flood started talking very biblically in the Empire of Death when the world was turning to dust. She was saying, oh, I had such plans and he waits no more and all this jazz. So she's clearly in tune with gods of some sort. Now, if we are to make some educated guesses on who these gods could be, the big one that I would genuinely love to see back, like just flat out, it needs to happen. I've written my Doctor Who Echo. Look, there's the premiere pictures over there. If you haven't already, go and check out our Doctor Who fan films. They're the best films in the world. But seriously, I would appreciate it if you go and check them out. But point is, anyone who's watched those films knows I love Omega, or Omega, the classic Who kind of god of Time Lords. At least that's how I imagine he'd be interpreted now. He was never technically a god, but Sutekh wasn't a god either, and Omega and Sutekh aren't too dissimilar. And Omega makes so much sense to bring back to Doctor Who as well, because like, you tie it in with the Timeless Child plotline, you tie it in with the Doctor's origins. Maybe if Mrs. Flood is some sort of creature from, you know how with the Timeless Child the Doctor was dropped through the boundary, maybe Mrs. Flood is from the other side of the boundary. The boundary was opened up by the sprinkling of the salt in Wild Blue Yonder, and Omega knows about the boundary, or, I mean, he was trapped in his antimatter universe. So you've got a load of routes to explore there. I also think you've got, like, the gods of Ragnarok who were mentioned in the Giggle. Like, they're actual gods, and Russell's clearly aware of them, so maybe they'd make a return. Maybe they're going to be like the villains or the antagonists of the Interstellar Song Contest. How, like, the Seventh Doctor had to perform for the gods of Ragnarok. Maybe it's a similar sort of vibe. The only thing with that is it kind of feels like plagiarism of Rick and Morty. You know that episode where you've got the giant heads in the sky that go like, show me what you got, and each planet has to perform to stay alive. But I suppose I could see that happening.
When you no longer entertain us, you die.
Predictable as ever.
In terms of other gods, you've got like the Beast from Series 2, but I think that's incredibly doubtful because, like, are you really going to have Gabriel Wolfe play the two different villains? And the Beast was already kind of referenced in the Empire of Death, like Carla says, the Beast, when Sutekh's there, so I think it's unlikely, but just mark my words, I think there'll be another big classic villain come back. They're going to be turned into a god this time, or they're already a god, something like that. I also wouldn't be surprised, right, if this big reveal is Susan. It's been so set up since season 1. Even kind of going back to the 60th anniversary, this whole idea of the Doctor having to slow down, the Doctor having to stop. The 15th Doctor even says to Ruby Sunday when she leaves, "You've helped me talk about family in a way that I never did before." They keep drawing attention to Susan. They did it in The Devil's Cord. The whole Susan Triad Sutekh plot twist, that was all about luring the Doctor back home with his family member Susan. So I do think it would make sense if the Doctor goes and visits Susan, especially because Carol Ann Ford is still with us, and from every interview she's done, she's incredibly up for returning to the role. Hell, she even attended the Star Beast premiere. She's in with Russell. So I think it would be a massive missed opportunity not to have Susan in this season. Or the big reveal could tie into this article here. Doctor Who boss Russell T Davies gives 6-word response to Ncuti Gatwa's replacement. Russell T Davies gave a simple response when asked who will be taking over as the next Doctor in the much-loved BBC series. So, for a bit of added context, if you've been a bit out of the loop in terms of Doctor Who news, there have been rumours flying left, right and centre that Ncuti Gatwa is going to depart from the series at the end of Season 2. So it's literally in like 10 weeks' time, we may have seen the last of the 15th Doctor, which I think would be an awful shame, because Ncuti is brilliant. Like, Ncuti could do so much more with the role, and I just think he hasn't had time. Now you've got to bear in mind these are not confirmed, these are just rumours. We don't even know if 15's leaving. If you want my personal take on the matter, which I assume you do because you're here on this video and you've watched this far in, but I reckon, we know for a fact, right, that they did 3 weeks of reshoots relatively recently. It might not have been 3 weeks. We know for a fact that they did some reshoots recently in Cardiff for Doctor Who with Ncuti Gatwa, Millie Gibson and the whole gang. So I wouldn't be surprised if, in a similar way to Series 1 of Doctor Who, there are 2 endings that have been filmed. With Series 1 and Christopher Eccleston, they filmed an ending where the 9th Doctor doesn't die, he doesn't need to regenerate. Rather, he looks at the scanner and finds out that Rose is actually dying. He doesn't tell Rose, but that's our plot twist going into Series 2, the fact that Rose Tyler is dying and there's nothing the Doctor can do to cure her. I wouldn't be surprised if the original ending of Season 2, which was written way back, they'd have shot that when they filmed like a year ago. But I think they may have gone in case of Ncuti Gatwa departing from the role, in case of not getting a Season 3, they filmed an open-ended regeneration. Or, if not specifically a regeneration, some form of write-around to remove Ncuti from the show. Now, in terms of why he's leaving, we don't think there's any drama behind it. If anything, it's solely because in the current TV climate, Disney haven't yet said they'll fund a Series 3. And if the crew and the cast don't know when they're going to be in for work, they can't really afford to book off 8 months of time out of the blue. Ncuti is such a high-in-demand actor, he probably wants to move to LA. I mean, it's kind of what Matt Smith did in 2013. He wanted to launch his career in America more, so he departed from the role a year earlier than he would have done. So I think they genuinely just may not know at the moment. If there is a 16th Doctor, I think it's incredibly unlikely that they've actually been cast. One, because it would leak. But then I suppose the casting of Ncuti Gatwa never leaked, so it's not impossible that they've got a 16th Doctor. But all of this tied together with the fact that Verada and Ncuti are talking about a big reveal, I wouldn't be 100% surprised if we do get a 15th Doctor regeneration at the end of this season. As for what Russell specifically said, when asked about who the next Doctor may be while walking the purple carpet at the 2025 Gaydo Pride Awards, the show writer spoke exclusively to Express.co.uk as he quipped, "What do you mean next Doctor? What are you on about?" Now, it's difficult to know how he said this. If we knew the exact tone of his voice, we could probably tell whether it's a quippy shutting down of, just shut up, stop talking about that, Ncuti's the Doctor, which it could very well be, or it could be a more like, I don't know, I'm only a humble showrunner, how would I know? But what it does prove is that we're not getting any information out of Russell in terms of whether there's a new Doctor. I think the official line that they're sticking with is Ncuti is the Doctor and he's here to stay. And I think that's quite good. If we do get a regeneration, I can't lie, I hope it is a complete surprise. I hope we don't get the announcement of 16 before, I hope it's not hyped up, I hope we don't even see a regenerating hand in a trailer. How cool would it be? I think it'd be the only time, apart from William Hartnell, ever, that you just get a complete shock, a complete surprise regeneration where you just don't know it's coming. I genuinely do think that's the way to go. That'd be cool. Let me know in the comments who you would have to play the 16th Doctor. I think if we're being logical, maybe someone like Lydia West, because she's like besties with Russell. I say besties, they've worked together on 2 shows before, and he's never brought her into Doctor Who. Maybe he's saving her for a bigger role. I've always said Dev Patel would be like my number 1 choice. He'd literally just be perfect. I'm pretty sure he's too big of a star now, but I'm just saying Dev Patel as the Doctor, best Doctor of all time. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, please do remember to like, comment, subscribe and share. You can check me out on Patreon for exclusive behind the scenes on our Doctor Who fan films. You can watch our Doctor Who fan films for free over on this channel. And I've got a clips channel if you just want to watch a couple of clips to dip your toes in the water and see what it's all about. Thank you very much for watching and goodbye.
Don't forget to click below and subscribe to the official Confused Adipose YouTube channel.
I will destroy you.
She's not seen a single episode.
No, I've watched your episodes.
Keep these sonic screwdrivers.
What else am I saying about the film? Don't watch this one.